I just got this thought, word, epiphany that came to me, and it's that, you know what, in this season that we're going into, there are going to be people who cannot hear you. No matter how much you're saying the same thing over and over and over, they can't hear you. The last season, it was just like I was being misunderstood by everybody. Nobody could understand anything that I was saying, no matter how much I just spoke plain English. It's like they couldn't hear you, couldn't hear me. And it was so frustrating. And I was getting upset and I was getting emotional because I was saying, I've repeated myself at least 10 or 12 times, and I know I speak English. And we've had conversations, direct conversations about this thing. And then the next time, they literally won't understand a word that I said or remember a word that I said. And I was getting very upset. But now, as we're in the month of October, I'm just a lot more calm because I've given it to the Lord. And um, for those people that are really, really Christians, it took me a long time to do this, but I would encourage anybody to please work on this. If you have any angst against anybody, please just give it to the Lord. Don't respond. Don't get upset. Don't get angry. Definitely don't retaliate. Definitely don't um, be combative or I'm not saying that I was combative or anything, but I just used to get emotional because I just don't like to be unheard. And I am a very active, intentional listener. So if you say something to me, I do my best to try to listen. I'm one of those people that, people please and yes, 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 people. So I'm whatever you say, I'm gonna make sure I get it done and it's gonna have a big red bow on it. So when that's not reciprocated to me, it's very aggravating and frustrating for me. And I have to repeat myself and repeat myself and repeat myself. And just like everyone else in the world right now, everyone is busy and everyone has a lot on their plate, whether it looks like it or not. So if someone is going out of their way to make sure that they hear you and they're following through on what we spoke about and they are etching time in their schedule to make sure that they accommodate you, please don't take that for granted. Please don't take that for granted. And please don't take that person for granted because we're living in a time that groceries are higher than ever. Bills are higher than ever. It's a housing crisis. So if a person is prioritizing you, please don't take that for granted, and if you know, or if you care to know and realize that this person is saying ever so softly, I did mention that to you. I did say that to you. I did send that to you. I did mention that to you, but they're not yelling and screaming. They're not irate. They're not shoving and pushing. Oh, wow. Thank you, Holy Spirit. That's the way the Holy Spirit is speaking in this hour. The Holy Spirit is gentle. He says it with a small voice. And if you don't get it, you don't get it. And God is very merciful. Um, and his people are very merciful. And but there will come a time that it's just time to walk away. And you'll be trying to figure out why things are not working out and why this and why that. Your provision was there. Your connection was there, but your ear wasn't there. You couldn't hear the blessing. There was a time that people would say you couldn't see the blessing. You couldn't see the blessing. But now it's you can't even hear the blessing. You can't hear it. The person is telling you X, Y, and Z, and you don't hear them. It's not for the person to yell, scream, shout, grab you, try to set you down and get you to hear it. Because that's another thing that the Lord has been saying. Sit down. Sit down. He wants his people to sit down and hear him. But everybody's so busy. and they're running around like a chicken with their head chopped off, doing and doing and doing. And that's not the season right now. The season right now is kind of to be still, sit down and listen. But if you don't listen, it doesn't mean that the instructions weren't there. It means you didn't hear them, which is dangerous. If you're in a building and the fire alarm goes off and you just sit around and say, I didn't hear it, you know, if you're driving and someone is honking their horn at you and you're saying that you didn't hear it because your music was so loud, you know, it's just not good. And so I'm going to end this video, but I'm just going to say, please turn your ear